I see some flaws in your conspiracy theory, Geno360, and I'm going to point them out to you. I hope you don't see this as like a video to insult you, but I authentically see some severe flaws in your logic. You say that people in the old days were more stupid than they are now, and all evidence points to the contrary. People are more gullible now to believe anything anywhere than they were back then, and that's why they throw their money at e-beggars like the Amazing Atheist, or in the worst case scenario, moderators. Amazing Atheist himself is not a moderator to my knowledge, so it doesn't bother me as much as, say, when Richard the Rapist Bueller makes $1 million fucking dollars. But the issue here is, people in the old days may have been more superstitious than they are today, but I don't think they were necessarily dumber, because people back then knew what their priorities were. When you were to go up to them about a religion, they would ask you questions like, is God going to make my crops grow? Is God going to bear me lots of children? Is God going to keep me healthy and safe? Those were the kinds of issues that worried people back then, because every day of their life was a struggle. They had to worry about where their food was going to come from, if they were going to have heat when it was cold, and if they were going to be able to, keep their cattle, things like that, what they were going to do when they get even the slightest infection, and things like that. So, they didn't really have time to believe in stupid crap about ghosts and goblins. So, if you were to pitch a religion to them, it had to have some kind of substantial basis. There had to be some big changes in the social demographic. And that's what Christianity was about. That's where Christians differ from every other religion. In pagan religions, it's all about there's a god for the ocean, there's a god for, the sky, there's a god for the birds, and blah, blah, blah. Whereas with Christianity, it's a god for morals. Christianity is one of the few religions that actually sets ground rules for moral standards, as opposed to pagan religions, which simply say that there is spiritual life within the trees and within the earth itself, and shit like that. So, Christianity was a social revolution. It was a revolution against the debauchery and decadence of old, and replacing it with this rigid social structure of discipline and family and unity and things like that. I mean, you can argue that it didn't work out that way, that there was corruption, that it was all just fabricated in order for certain people to get into power, and things like that, but you can't just say that people were simply stupid and fell for it, because, they had to think about, what am I getting out of this? What am I getting out of this as a farmer, or as, just a normal guy trying to live his life as a serf, or whatever the fuck. And more so, I think now people are gullible to believe anything they're told than anything back then. And nowadays, people believe all this stupid crap about, the aliens guy with the afro and, all these school hauntings. What's that show called? School Spirit? Or some other bullshit. People will just eat up any stupid story that they're fed. And it's more so now superstition than it was back then, where they were promised goods and a heaven, and they were promised 7 wives, and whatever. So, at least back then, it appealed to their needs for survival, and their desires, and shit like that, as opposed to now, where it's just the circle jerk of what if, what could be. And that's why I don't think Christianity is a conspiracy in and of itself. I don't think Christianity was built on an elite group of people wanting all the power and just basing it on religious faith. I think along the lines, it got that way because, liars and cheaters and backstabbers and murderers, of course, are going to get into ranks of power. They're sociopaths. They have no limits. They don't care who they hurt. They don't care who gets in their way. And they certainly are not going to feel bad about it. So that's how that happens. But that doesn't necessarily mean Christianity in and of itself was built upon those premises. So, I guess that's my own counter-argument for now. I have to, think about what I'm going to say further. So, I guess that's it.